Welcome to the CDG BizCast. I'm your host, Christian Gonzalez, co-owner of Creativity Design Group, a digital marketing firm in Houston, Texas. Today we will be discussing how chatbots can either be an extremely useful tool for converting leads to sales, or how they can be a nightmare for new and existing customers, resulting in lost revenue for your company. Joining me today is my good friend and consumer panelist in the United Kingdom, Sarah Russell, who will discuss from a consumer standpoint how chatbots have destroyed the customer service experience for her personally. It's 2023 and we are seeing an increase in chatbots across the web. Almost every website that you pull up is going to have a chatbot in it. However, it's important to understand that while there are a lot of benefits of chatbots, a poorly programmed chatbot can automatically destroy the customer experience. In fact, it could send potential leads away. They'll go to your competitors. We did an entire episode last summer talking about how different website pet peeves, and the biggest feedback that I got when we were taping that episode was they do not like intrusive chatbots. If chatbots are popping up all over the place, it can be very rude and it can be an annoyance to the customer. So this episode is going to hone in a little bit more on bad chatbots. We're going to specifically focus on bad chatbot, how you, the business owner, can improve the chatbot experience to ensure that you are not scaring away potential leads. Let's talk about some facts about chatbots first, to understand the benefits of them. Many people in general are okay with using chatbot services. 63% of people are willing to communicate with a chatbot because it's an easy way for them to get quick answers to simple questions. You should program your chatbots to answer the simplest of questions that do not require customers to call you or email you. If you're all about ensuring that customer service is delivered properly to your customers, make sure that they only need to call in if they have a unique situation. If customers have general questions that could be answered with a chatbot, such as what time do you open, or do you have this product in stock, that's something a chatbot can accomplish. By having the chatbot answer these questions, you're saving your customer service team more time to answer questions that cannot be answered by a chatbot, things that are more unique if a customer has a specific situation that requires human interaction. But for your general inquiry, a chatbot can answer these questions easily. So that actually speeds up the process. It also eliminates the need for a customer to wait for an email response or wait who knows how long on hold trying to get a hold of a customer service agent. Save your customer service agents for these special unique problems that can only be solved with human interaction. Utilize chatbot to answer general questions. 37% of people are willing to make purchases through a chatbot, so keep that in mind. Keep in mind that you can use your chatbots to seal a deal, but they can also break the deal if the experience is not good. In the US, consumers are willing to spend an average of $55 per purchase. And the potential is even greater in the UK, where people are willing to spend an average of 410 US dollars, which is about 328 in pounds sterling. So that's also important to keep in mind too, that these chatbots have potential to really bring in some big bucks for your company. How well your chatbot is programmed will make or break the deal. If many of your customers are millennials, if your target audience is millennials, a good majority of millennials will accept the advice of chatbots. They are the generation that rely heavily on smartphones and artificial intelligence. So it's important to remember that if your brand specifically targets people within the millennial age group, a chatbot will be your best friend if they are programmed correctly. Now, it's also important to remember that chatbots are not perfect. Chatbots are computerized, therefore they will not have the personal touch that a human interaction will have. A human employee will always give you that personal touch. They'll listen to you, they'll call you by name, they'll understand your needs. A chatbot cannot do all of these things, sadly. There are some exceptions to that rule. However, for the most part, it's always going to be just computer programmed messages. So it's important to remember that when you're setting up your chatbot, you want your chatbot to be presented as if it's a human person. And be upfront about it too. That's also really important to understand, that people do want to know when they're talking to a human person. Many people in general get frustrated with chatbots simply because the chatbot cannot answer their question. A human employee can answer your question right away, but a chatbot, you need to program your chatbots to make sure that they can answer all general questions, or understand why the customer came to your website, help them find what they need. If your chatbot is sending your customer in an endless loop of questions and is not getting them to their solution, they're just going in endless circles, guess what? That customer is frustrated. They're not going to want to deal with it anymore. They're going to try to call in and try to get their question answered. If you're relying on chatbots for sales, you certainly don't want this endless cycle to occur with a potential new lead, because that will cost your company a new customer. That new customer is going to go somewhere else. They're not going to deal with it. Your company can destroy its bottom line if the chatbots are not programmed to handle sales properly. It's important to remember that your chatbot must provide a stellar experience to the customer, or they're not going to want to deal with it anymore. The majority of people who were surveyed say that they can tell the difference between a human person and a robot. However, experts say that by the time we get to 2029, chatbots and human employees are going to be hard to distinguish from each other, because they are just predicting that AI is going to become so advanced by then that chatbots will be able to look like human interactions, and you can take that with a grain of salt. I find that a bit creepy, and other people probably find that a bit creepy, but that's what we're heading to. So that's how our future is looking. AI is looking to power pretty much any interaction now. I do want to talk about some bad experiences that you, the business owner, can learn from to ensure that they do not happen with your own company. We're going to talk to our consumer panelist, Sarah, here. She's going to talk about some bad experiences she had with chatbots. Business owners who are listening, I want you to listen to her experiences and take notes to ensure that you do not repeat these same mistakes that the company she was dealing with made. Sarah, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, Christian. Thank you. Thanks for having me on the show. One of my experiences was with Amazon, big multi-billion pound company in the UK and in United States and many other countries. I had an issue with a couple of products I bought. One time the product didn't turn up. It was well overdue. It was like, it should have been delivered in the January and I'm still waiting in the March for it. So I looked on their website, went into my account. I looked on the website to see if there was any contact numbers, if I could phone them or if I could email them. The only choice it gave me was the chat box. So I thought, okay, I'll give the chat box a go. So I clicked on the chat box and it says, hello, how can I help you? First of all, that is just like the standard thing. So it came up with that. So I typed in my question. I'm waiting for a product. It's now 3 months late. Where is it? And then it come back with, I'm sorry, I can't help you with your question. You need to change the way you're saying the question. So I put missing product. So it said, okay, can you put in your order number? I don't know my order number. So I put, I don't know my order number. And he said, well, you need to put in your order number so I can continue. But I don't know my order number. So I'm like, I don't know my order number. So it kept going on. I need more information. I need more information. In the end, I put on there, I need to talk to a human. And it said, I don't understand what you're saying. I need to talk to a human. I don't understand what you're saying. And I was getting so frustrated and annoyed. Like I thought, if this, I'm going to have to phone or try and find a phone number or an email and try and get in touch with the UK Amazon, because I'm just going nowhere. I'm just going around in a circle. So anyway, because I've then typed in again, I need to know where my product is. So I changed the question again and it said, hello, S. Russell. So I'm like, right, now it's trying to be personal. How can I help you? Well, I've just said how I wanted it. Anyway, 2 or 3 sentences in, it says, I can't help you. I'll have to send you to an agent. Finally, about 10 minutes later, an agent was on there. And I said to him, your Chatbots is absolutely useless. It didn't even understand what I was saying. I am missing a product that I should have had 3 months ago. Where is it? Oh, I'm so sorry about that. Can you tell me what product it is? So I told them what product it was. I literally said, give me a moment. So you could see they were typing and then they disappeared. And then they come back and said, oh, yes, I'm afraid that item is no longer available. So I said, okay, so it's now not available. Why have you not told me it's not available? Why have you now not informed me and given me a refund? And they come back with, apologies, we've only just found this out. But you're telling me now you should be on top of this. Anyway, I said I wasn't satisfied. So they said, what we'll do is that we will give you your full refund right now. So they gave me a full refund back on and they said, we will send you a similar item to what you wanted. And I said, what do you mean you're going to send me another item similar to what I had? And they said, it's going to be free of charge. You won't have to pay for it. It's like a gesture of goodwill for the messing about and the fact we didn't inform you of the fact that it was out of stock. And I said, that's all very well, but is it going to do exactly the same thing I wanted? Apparently, yes, it was. And it will be totally fine. But if it's not, you can send it back. I said, but then I wouldn't get a refund because you're giving it to me. Anyway, I said, yeah, okay, lovely, thank you. And left it at that. I did receive the item probably 3 or 4 days later. It wasn't exactly what I ordered, first of all, but it was close. Yes, so they said to me I could have my refund, which was fine, but they would also send me a similar product to what I had. So I said, okay. So they said, you wouldn't have to pay for it. It'd be free. It's like a gesture of goodwill because of the fact that we messed up in the beginning. We didn't obviously check to see if we had the stock. We didn't make sure that we was contacted you or made sure that we kept you informed. We didn't do any of that. So our customer service was really bad. So I said, yes, it was. So I said, okay, so you're going to send me something for nothing? So they said, yeah. So anyway, so I said I wasn't happy with the chat box because it was saying it didn't understand what I was saying, and yet you'll understand what I'm saying. And I said to them, that is the reason I don't like chat box. They're not, as you said, they're impersonal. They're not personal. It tried to be personal by saying Miss S. Russell, but it wasn't. It was nowhere near personal at all. It was quite impersonal by calling me by my name, and that's a robot. Anyway, so it was like a few days later, probably about 3 days later, I received this item. It wasn't exactly the same as the one I wanted. It actually was not as superior as that one, but it was for nothing and it did work. So I was satisfied, but not satisfied, if you know what I mean, because my experience was pretty awful. The chat box wasn't helpful at all, very impersonal, and it made me very, very frustrated and very angry.
And what was the product you were trying to buy, if you don't mind sharing which product?
I think it was at the time, because it was quite a while ago, it's probably the beginning of the year. I think it was possibly a little computer adapter, like a computer hub to make more, because you only have 2 sockets for USB. I do on my laptop. The other ones are just, I think they're a different type of fitment. But I wanted to have more USB sockets, the standard ones. So I needed a little computer hub, which plugs in and, you can plug other things then inside it. Well, the one I ordered had fantastic reviews. It was 5-star and everyone was saying it was fantastic. It's brilliant. It works magnificently, and I thought, well, that's the one for me. So I ordered it, and then, as I say, I waited about 3 months, and I thought, well, usually with Amazon they're very good. You don't wait 3 months, not when it says it's in stock. And they said they didn't have any more and they didn't know if they were getting any more, so that's why they sent me this other one. But it was Chinese just a basic one. And to be honest, it didn't last very long. The sockets didn't work, not all of the sockets. But because I got it for nothing, I didn't keep it very long. But that wasn't the point. I mean, if I'd have been able to get the one I wanted, then I probably still have it now because it was a far superior thing. It was a known brand and this was an unknown brand. So it was less superior. It didn't last 5 minutes. And when I looked to the reviews on that particular one, it said it was the most awful one on there. I think it got like 2 stars or something. So I wasn't happy. But since I've got my own one, which is a full-size 5-star one, a different one, and it is brilliant. So, touch would have had that quite a while.
Wow, I'm sorry you had to go through that. That truly does sound like a terrible experience to go through.
It was.
This is where they messed up at. They messed up with their chatbot. Their chatbot was no different than a telephone voice prompt where it tells you to push 3 for this, push 5 for that, and you're just going through endless prompts and then it never gets you to where you need to go. Or when the voice prompt asks you to state what you need and it just tells you, I'm sorry, I could not connect you, goodbye, and hangs up. This is the chatbot version of that. We talked about that exact same problem several episodes ago when we were talking about the problems with AI, and that phenomenon that occurs with these voice prompts, these annoying voice prompts, that has now spread to chatbots. It's the exact same thing. You're trying to get connected and it doesn't understand anything you're saying and it fails to connect you to where you need to go. That is an F+ grade chatbot experience right there. That is how you destroy the experience for the customer and make them mad. And it's also important to remember that if the customer is not getting anywhere with these automated responses, guess what the customer is going to believe? The customer is going to believe that your company is cold, indifferent, and impersonal. And that can damage the overall image of your brand. That is very damaging. That's suicide for your brand right there. You've got to show the customer that you really are willing to help them out when they need assistance. If they're trying to get chatbots or AI in general to run the customer service department, that's not going to get you anywhere. That's not going to get these companies anywhere. It's just going to result in a lot of angry customers. You cannot remove the human interaction. I stated that numerous times in that episode where we talked about the problems with AI. You cannot get rid of the human interaction. AI is supposed to aid, not replace, the human interaction when handling customers. It's only supposed to aid. It's not supposed to replace it. So companies that rely too much on chatbots are setting themselves up for disaster. That is not the way to go. AI may be becoming the thing now. We may be seeing tools like ChatGPT and other similar tools out there becoming more prevalent in the marketing world and in business in general, but that does not mean the human interaction should be replaced. The chatbot needs to be programmed to ensure that every single response that the consumer provides is recognized and it knows where to point the customer. It knows when to provide the customer the right solution. And it also should recognize when the chatbot can no longer help and direct the customer to a human employee who will be able to assist them properly. If it can't do any of these things, then it does in fact show that companies are not interested in serving their customers properly. There's an old saying that goes, work harder, not smarter. In this case, companies need to work smarter so that they can work harder to serve their customers. That's when you have to really think about that old saying and tweak it to where it's important to remember to work harder and smarter together. In fact, you can't do one without the other. While we're working harder to serve your customers, you need to make smart decisions while doing so. Now, you also told me that you've had some other experiences where the chatbot was an absolute nightmare to deal with. When was the second instance where this happened to you?
I would say that, well, the next one was my broadband provider. I had an issue with broadband and I still do. I have ever since I joined them, to be honest. And we're coming up to just over a year. Well, I think we are over a year now and we're on an 18-month contract. That's the trouble. Anyway, so I had a problem with the fact it kept dropping off. The signal kept dropping off all the time and I kept rebooting the router and nothing was happening. The signal would work for like 5-10 minutes and it'd drop off again. And when the signal was up and running, I was able to, because the phone number They give a phone number, they give an email. The emails, they get back to you in 48 hours, but that's not a guarantee. Could be 72 hours. Email, that was for emails. Phone calls, they didn't answer the phone, so it just kept going on, ringing, and I wasn't hanging on the phone for like half an hour or whatever. And then there was an option for a chatbot, just chat in the corner. So on their website, I managed, while it was up and running for a second, I thought, well, let's see what happens. So I clicked on the chat box and it said, hello, how can I help you? So I said, my internet's dropping on and off. I don't know what the answer is. I've turned the router off, I've turned it on, I've turned the devices all off, so there's only one device connected, but it's still dropping off. What's going on? Because I'm getting really annoyed and frustrated because I can't do anything. So the robot come back with, I can't understand what you're saying. The similar sort of thing to Amazon. So I don't know what you have to actually type in so that these robots understand what you're saying. It's asking to say, tell me what's wrong, but it's not understanding what I'm saying. So anyway, so I put it in again. I've put internet drops off. I thought I'll make it short and sweet. Let's see what happens. And it come up with, go to this article on this website. It might help. Yes, but I can't keep accessing the website because it keeps dropping off. Okay. So I went on that and it made no difference at all. So I went back to the chat box. That's not helpful. It doesn't work. So it come up with, try this article. So I'm like, I'm not going to keep trying the articles. So I tried them all. And it went through and it kept saying all these things like, check this article, check this article, check this article. And that's all that kept coming up. It was going round and round. And I got so annoyed with the thing. I really did. In the end, I just put on there, let me speak to a human. And then it says, I don't understand what you're saying. And you know what? In the end, this chatbot just suddenly said, I can't help you now. Bye. And I thought, you have not just cut me off. You're really making me annoyed. So I clicked back on the chatbot and he said, hello, how can I help you? There was then a button I could see that it said urgent. It said something about urgent speak or something like that. So if you want to speak urgently, I guess. So anyway, so I tapped that and it went for a different chatbot. Wasn't the same one as I did, and the whole page changed to something else. So I thought, well, this is a bit different. So anyway, so I've said again, says, what is your problem? How can I help you? So I put that in, and then it flagged up as this article again, the same articles as I tried before, and I've put, I've tried this, doesn't work. I've tried this, doesn't work. Every time it's coming up. In the end, after all this, finally it said, I will put you through to an advisor. So I got to the advisor. As soon as the advisor was on there, they said, you have to phone us. We can't do it via chatbot. So I said, but I can't phone you because you don't answer the phone. Well, you have to email us, but you're not going to get in touch with me for 48 hours or 72 hours. And they said, yes, that's right. So I said, well, I've got problems with my internet and I need it sorted. I'm not going to keep paying for internet that's not working. So they said, just send us an email and we will try and sort it out. So in the end, the chatbot was no good. The advisor on the chatbot that they sent was no good. I then had to email them, and yes, it was 48 hours and they got back to me. They actually phoned me while I was shopping and they said, oh, can you turn your router on and off? I said, no, I'm shopping. So they said, oh, okay, we'll phone you later. Anyway, eventually they said, oh, we think you need a new one. So they sent me a new one. I'm on about router number 6 now, so I don't know when it's going to end. But the chatbot was absolutely useless. It done nothing for that site at all, so I really don't know what the point of that was.
How much time would you say you spent interacting with that chatbot before it finally connected you to a human employee?
I would say you're probably looking at a good half hour or more, because it was twice. I had to go to 2 different ones, half an hour to 40 minutes.
That is just crazy unacceptable that a chatbot was that incompetent to understand what your issue was and how it just couldn't serve you a solution. And here's a problem I've noticed with many chatbots that are involved in technical support. Many companies that offer technical support often have a whole page. They have a whole section on their website dedicated to tech support, and they often have a chatbot asking you, what do you need help with? You tell it specifically what your problem is, and then it just basically walks walks you through the same ordeal that you just went through, where it serves you all these useless articles that have nothing to do with the problem that you're facing. You probably have a very unique problem that there is no self-help article provided for, so you have to talk to a human agent. But yet the chatbot will not understand that. They keep trying to serve you an article for something that's not even related to what you're struggling with. And then the cherry on top is that it won't send you to an agent. And then when you try to request an agent, it just doesn't understand, or it again tries to serve you another page or article that is just outright useless and has no relevance to your problem. Sometimes I've seen it to where the chatbot will ask, would you like to contact us? You click on the contact button and you assume that it's going to send you a telephone number, an email address, or give you an agent right there in the chat. That's completely wrong. What happens next is that the chatbot will then ask you what your issue is, and then you go in the same circle again where you describe your problem to the chatbot, and then it again tries to serve you useless self-help articles. And then when it asks, were any of these articles helpful, and you say no, then it'll attempt to try to connect you to a human person. But that should not happen. It should connect you to a human person the moment the chatbot notices that the specific keywords you're putting in your description do not align with the content that they are serving you. And the chatbots often ask you to be descriptive of your issue. So let's say you have an error code, for example. If you have a certain error code, you should be able to type it in the chatbot when you're typing out your description of your problem. You would assume that the chatbot would send you an article related to such error code, but if it's a very unique one that they don't have any self-help articles written on yet, it should not serve you an article that's not related to the problem. It should then automatically recognize that your problem is too unique for the chatbot to assist you with. It should recognize there are no self-help articles in their database and should connect you to a live agent to get your problem resolved. That's how it should happen. It shouldn't just throw you in a random circle or keep trying to serve you self-help articles endlessly when they have nothing to do with the issue at hand. This is just as bad as those voice prompts I was telling you about earlier, where they just fail to understand what your needs are and won't send you to an agent when needed. Going back to those voice agents, it's even worse with those voice prompts. When the system fails to recognize your issue at hand or fails to understand you, it then says, I'm sorry, I can't help you, goodbye, and hangs up. That's not the solution. If it doesn't understand you, it should connect you to an agent, not hang up on your face like that. That is where companies are dropping the ball with AI in general. They are making it too impersonal. They are not fine-tuning their systems enough to where they can understand certain things, and as a result, they just have the system time out and they don't send you to the right people. They don't send you to the right department. Whenever anything AI-based fails to understand the consumer, it should not just time out or give up on the customer and close itself or hang up. It should automatically direct you to a live, breathing agent who can help you with your problem. It's just too impersonal and too insensitive. It really shows that companies are impersonal and insensitive when they are not fine-tuning their AI to listen to the customers, to have it just give up on them when it doesn't understand them or can't find the solution. That is not the solution to the problem. Send your customers who are either interacting with you by phone or with a chatbot to a live agent immediately upon the chatbot's failure to recognize the issue at hand. Simple as that. Quit trying to send your customers away. Here are some things that your business can do to ensure that chatbots don't make your company look like it's been disconnected from the people who keep you in business. That's the customer. For one thing, make sure every phone number that you share works and they all have a clear path to a live agent should your voice prompts fail to understand the customer's needs. Again, the voice prompts need to be able to understand exactly why the customer is calling. Make sure that you answer calls in 3 rings or less. Now, I know that can be a bit harder for companies that are run by solopreneurs where you are doing everything. You're the only employee, you're the owner, you wear all the hats. That can be a little hard, I understand that, but the faster that you can answer your calls, the better it is for your company. Now, if you are utilizing customer service and you're large enough to afford call centers, hire a call center that can operate on a 24/7 basis. That way your customers will always be able to have their issues taken care of should they need assistance after hours, after your company closes. You'll want to be able to offer some sort of 24/7 customer service solution to ensure that they can get around-the-clock help. So a call center can help you there. That can be very costly, and that's probably only recommended if that is in your company's budget. If you have access to it, I say go for it. And of course, always be active on social media. Post regularly on social media. If people are utilizing social media for messaging because they have questions about their products or services or have issues, make sure you're always monitoring your account so you can respond to them. Additionally, you don't want to lose out on sales if somebody messages you on social media inquiring about your products or services. Maybe they want to buy right then and there, so make sure that you're always on top of your game when it comes to answering messages that come in through all of the social media outlets that you're utilizing. Be quick to respond to social media posts, to your messages, and of course, emails. You will get people inquiring about your products or services on email. Make sure you're always monitoring your email and you respond promptly. Don't leave them hanging, because if they don't get an immediate response through any of these channels, guess what? They're going to move on. They're going to look for a competitor of yours and go do business with them instead. So it is of paramount importance to make sure that you are on top of your game when it comes to responding to any emails, when it comes to responding to any messages you get through email, through social media, through the chatbot. Make sure that you are able to respond to them promptly so that you do not lose out on a sale. That can cost you a sale right then and there if you're not responsive enough. Now, Sarah, you also told me that you had one other additional experience with a chatbot that did not go quite so well. Please tell me more about that.
Yeah, it was a company over here. I don't know if you've got it in the US, probably not, called Very. They do absolutely everything from they sell computers to clothes to home products, all sorts of things. They're like a catalogue company, but they're online. And I'd ordered a few things, like a few homeware things like cushions and things like that, some clothes, some shoes and things like that. And supposed to be, I paid for delivery. I paid $7.99 delivery to have it on a certain day. They said, oh, it'll arrive in like 3 days' time. So the 3 days' time turned up and the clothes didn't turn up. I didn't get an email, didn't get a message on my SMS. I didn't get anything at all. So I thought, I better chase that up, because I've paid nearly £8 for the delivery to have it on the certain day. So anyway, so I've gone on to their website and then I've put in my customer number and gone down and it says a problem with order. So I was like, oh, okay. So I tapped on problem with order. It says speak to the chatbot. So I'm like, okay. So I've clicked on the chatbot. Bearing in mind, I'm now on my page that's got my order number and everything on there and what I've ordered. So the chatbot's down there. So I've typed in, where's my order? And the chatbot said, I don't understand what you're saying. So I went, where's my order? Again, I don't understand what you're saying. I said, missing order. And then it said, it come up with a link, missing orders. So I thought, right, okay, I'll click on that. I clicked on that and it said, if you're missing an order, click on the chatbot. I thought, well, I'm already on the chatbot. So I went back to the chatbot. They said, how can I help you? And I thought, well, I've just been speaking to you. Okay, missing order. And the same thing again. It come up with exactly the same thing. And I thought, I'm going to get nowhere with this thing. So I thought, is there a number for these people? So I'm looking on the whole of where the order is. Couldn't see anything. I thought, well, it's still the chatbot. So I thought, right, cancel order. Let's try that. I cancelled the order. It said, what did you want? So I put cancel order. I thought, well, you can't send me the products. I'm going to cancel my whole order. I want all my money back. So I tap that and click the chatbot. And the chatbot went, I'm so sorry to hear this. Let me put you through to an advisor. I thought, oh, okay. So I got through to an advisor. And I had to wait a little while because it says advisors are busy. So I'm like, waiting, twiddling my thumbs. It's saying, please wait. And this little chatbot thing was jumping up and down, waving its hands about. I'm not sure where the little chat man come from, but he was just jumping up, waving his hands. And then all of a sudden, the person was typing. It says they were typing. Oh, I hear you want to cancel your order. I said, well, actually, no, I want to know where it is. But the chatbot wouldn't tell me what I wanted to know. So anyway, so they said, well, do you still want to cancel your order? So I said, well, not really if it's on its way. And so they said, oh, what's your order number? So I said, well, I'm on the page where the order number is. Can you not just put my name in and find the order number? They said no. So anyway, so I could see the order number on the page. So I just typed that in. And they said, oh, unfortunately, it's a bit of a delay. So I said, what do you mean there's a delay? Well, it's not going to come till next week. So I said, well, that's not 3 days and I've paid $7.99 delivery. So they said, oh, we're so sorry. Do you want to cancel the order? And I thought, do you know what? You've annoyed me so much. I want to cancel the order. I want all my money back. So I said, yes, I want to cancel the order. They said, oh, yeah, you'll get it back except for the delivery. I said, no, you haven't delivered it. So I want all my money back, including what I've paid delivery, nearly £8. And they said, oh, hold on a minute. So they disappeared. Obviously went to go and ask the supervisor or the manager, and they come back with, yes, that's fine, we can do that. I thought, well, yes, that is fine because you're not even fulfilling the order. Anyway, with some reluctance, they said, oh, you got between 5 and 7 working days, you'll get your refund. I thought, well, that's out of order. I said, no, I want my refund tomorrow or the next day. So I said, and it can be done. So anyway, so they said, hold on a minute. So they went back to their manager or the supervisor, whatever. They come back and said, oh, yes, we can actually do that for you. Expect to see it in your bank in 2 days or whatever it was. Please shop with us again. And I said, no, I won't. And then I just logged off. And I thought, do you know what? That is the worst customer service, including the chatbot, I've ever experienced.
Yeah, that's quite the ordeal. And you know what the common denominator between all three of your stories is? The chatbot sent you in an endless loop that failed to get you to the right person on time.
It was a permanent circle. I just felt like I was starting off going, on a little road. Then all of a sudden I've ended up where I started, but not getting anywhere. No one was giving me any answers, not even the chat box, just telling me all things. And then this last chat box that was just like a person appeared, like a little computer generated person was jumping up, waving its hands. I thought, well, that isn't helpful either.
None of this was helpful. The chatbots broke all the rules of customer service. They broke all the rules of taking care of a customer. I mean, it's important to understand that people are ready to talk to chatbots. 63% of people would consider messaging an online chatbot to communicate with a business or brand. And people are more than willing to talk to retailers through the chat. And why do people like to talk to the chatbot? The conversations often start with hi or how can I help you? Because it does give the impression that they're talking to a human. However, if they want the experience to go stellar, they need to completely understand what their customer truly needs. They need to understand that they want service, they want it promptly, and they don't want to be led in endless circles. And what you went through, all I can say is that business owners out there, listen to all three of Sarah's stories. If you're using chatbots, make sure that they are set up properly to where anyone who comes onto your website looking for help or wants to buy something new are able to get it done seamlessly through the chatbot without any fluff, without sitting them in circles, sending them irrelevant content, and dropping the ball when it comes to understanding plain English responses. Chatbot should be able to understand plain English, and if it doesn't, guess what? You're going to have a lot of angry customers who will not come back to you again. All three of these experiences that Sarah has shared with us, think about them. She wanted her money back throughout all of these experiences. Do you want that for your company? Do you want all of your customers demanding their money back? Or do you want new customers running away from your company to go somewhere else because the chatbot failed to be a proper customer service tool? It failed to understand them. Think about that. Be upfront if the chatbot is a robot. Let them know when they're talking to a human person versus talking to a robot. People want to know these things. Don't try to pretend that the chatbot's human actually listening. People don't like to be deceived. Quit lying to all of your customers by making your chatbots look like they're real humans. Let your customers know up front when they're talking to a robot and make it clear when they're being transferred over to a human employee. Simple as that. Don't deceive your customers. I know that the experts say that by 2029, it's going to be hard to tell the difference between a robot and a human, but it's not 2029 yet. We are in 2023. That is 6 years away from now. That might happen sooner than that, sadly enough, and I personally don't want to see that happen because honesty is everything in a business. But since we are not at that point yet, just be transparent with your customers about who or what they're talking to. Let them know up front that they're talking to a robot, and also let them know up front that they have the ability to connect to an agent if necessary. Quit sending people away just because they can't get through on the chatbot or through voice prompts on the phone. Don't let AI destroy the customer service experience because it is not supposed to be a substitute for human interaction. Don't send your customers in endless loops of messages simply because the chatbot could not understand what they wanted. Have that option available. When the chatbot fails to understand what the customer needs, offer to send them over to a live agent. Don't destroy the customer service experience because you think that it's wise to allow AI to drive the majority of the customer interaction. That's not how it works. I can't stop saying this enough. AI is not supposed to replace human interaction. It is supposed to only aid in it. Customers are not going to deal with chatbots that are incompetent. Now, customers do want recommendations from chatbots. If chatbots can recommend them products, that's great. If they can give them a quick solution to what they need without human interaction, that's great, but don't send them in an endless circle while doing that. Make sure that the chatbot can clearly understand what the customer is seeking, especially if your bot is programmed to accept detailed, plain English responses. If it asks to describe their issue in detail or their needs in detail, then make sure that it is programmed to serve the proper content to them if needed. Self-help articles, the right product that they're seeking. If it fails to understand, send them over to a live employee right away. That's my final word on the matter. Make sure that your chatbots are programmed to understand the customer's needs without sending them in endless circles where they get nowhere. Have human interaction at the ready when they need it. When are you ready to close the show? So, Sarah, do you have anything you would like to say before we close out?
Yeah, just final word, please, to the people who have got the chat box. Please load your chat with words and or answers that can actually help the customer and not hinder them. Because with my experiences, it didn't understand what I was saying. You just needed to load in. I asked a question, can you help me with, I've got this issue. It should have been loaded with, sorry, I can't help you with this, but I will pass you to an agent. That would have been far more helpful than giving me a page of information which wasn't helpful at all. Sending me to a page, a site where none of the tips and tricks would work. So please just load them with proper answers and help more, because it's nothing more. It just makes people more angry. The customers get super angry about that. And I'm a customer. So that's my final word on that.
You should have never spent 40 minutes dealing with a chatbot. That is crazy, ridiculously unacceptable. I hope that they reevaluate what their chatbots are doing. They take a look at how they're interacting. I hope they reevaluate their chatbots in general to make sure that does not happen again with another customer. You need to make sure that you are listening to your customers and not just making them less of a priority. Because right now, with the experiences that you described, the customers seem like second priority. They didn't show that they were ready to help out a customer who was having major issues with their product, services, their website, or their company in general. Listen to your customers. Do not allow the advantages of AI to destroy the customer service experience. There are a lot of advantages of AI, but they will only help you when they are listening to the customer. That's really all I can say about that. They will only help you when they are listening to the customer, addressing their needs, providing the proper solutions, and sending them over to live agents when absolutely necessary. In general, it should be able to answer basic questions without connecting to an agent, saving the customer service team more time so they could tackle issues with other customers who have unique problems, but do not allow AI to substitute the human interaction. Make sure it aids, not detracts away from it. Thank you, Sarah, for being on the show. Thank you for sharing your experiences with us. I hope that the business owners out there who are listening will remember these horrible examples of poor customer service provided by chatbots, and that they will start reevaluating their strategies right away, especially if they are utilizing chatbots right now. But yes, thank you for joining me. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you on the next episode of CDG BizCast.
Thank you for asking me to join you, Christian. It's been a pleasure as usual.